Hello.
Hello.
Hello. I see there are a few new faces in the house today, and I want to go over the guidelines for the Course in Miracles class that you're at right now and give you a quick definition of a miracle. And the Course in Miracles says a miracle is a correct perception, it's a correct answer. So it's basically saying if we have a correct answer or a correct perception, it's a miracle. So that's why it's called a Course in Miracles. And it also says that some of the ideas that this course presents, there's plenty of seats in here too. Oh, Lord have mercy.
Sorry, go
Looking at his face, I wonder whose child he is. Excuse me. This was just your lesson in forgiveness, first thing today. So the course says some of the ideas that it presents you will find hard to believe. Some of the ideas you may find quite startling. This doesn't matter. It says you are merely asked to apply the ideas that you are directed to do. You are not asked to judge the ideas at all. You're only asked to use the ideas. It says it's their use that will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. Remember only this. You need not believe the ideas. You need not accept the ideas. You need not even welcome the ideas. You need not believe the ideas. You need not accept the ideas. You need not even welcome the ideas. You need not believe the ideas. You need not accept the ideas. You need not even welcome the ideas. Some of the ideas you may actively resist. Some of the ideas you may actively resist. Like, hell no. You might actively resist some of the ideas.
Or fall asleep.
Or fall asleep. And when you wake up and you have little paintings on your face, don't get upset about that. Mustache.
Your book's been molested.
Yeah, that's right. The book is all scrambled up and everything. It says, your active resistance, none of this will matter. None of this will decrease the efficacy, I like that, the efficacy of the ideas. But don't allow yourself to make exceptions in applying the ideas. And whatever your reactions to the ideas may be, use them. So nobody's trying to convert anybody. And so I'd like to take a couple of minutes to just kind of get that memory in our body about you need not believe the ideas, you need not accept the ideas. So you can close your eyes if you want to, or you can breathe if you want to. But I think it's important to kind of get in our minds that you don't have to believe it. Take a breath. Take a breath. Take a breath. Take a breath. You need not believe the ideas. You need not accept the ideas. You need not even welcome the ideas. Some of the ideas you may actively resist. You need not believe the ideas. I need not believe the ideas. I need not accept the ideas. I need not accept the ideas. Some of the ideas I may actively resist. Some of the ideas I may actively resist. Some of the ideas I will find hard to believe. I say some of the ideas, what? I will find hard to believe. One more time, I say some of the ideas, yes, I will find hard to believe. And guess what else? And others may seem to be quite startling. And others may seem to be quite startling. I am not asked to judge the ideas at all. I am not asked to judge the ideas at all. Their use will give the ideas meaning to me and will show me that the ideas are true. I said again, their use will give the ideas meaning to me and will show me that the ideas are true. Then I tell spirits, show me that the ideas are true. Loving spirit, show me that the ideas are true. Loving spirit, show me that the ideas are true. Loving spirit, show me that the ideas are true. Now anybody say it with the Show me that the ideas are true. Loving spirit, show me that the ideas are true. Loving spirit, show me that the ideas are true. Loving spirit, show me that the ideas are true. Now take a breath. You are so innocent and sweet and powerful. You are spirit, you are spirit. You are light. You are light. That's what you are. I say I want the peace of God, which means I want the peace of love. I'll say it again. I want the peace of love. I'll say it again. I want the peace of love. On down. On down. On down. On down. I am juicy and sweet.
I'm juicy and sweet.
I am juicy and sweet.
I am juicy and sweet.
I'm juicy. And I am sweet.
I'm sweet.
And I'm going to place my future in the hands of God. I place my future in the hands of God. I place my future in the hands of God. I place my future in the hands of God. And I remember I am sustained by the love of God. I am sustained by the love of God. What? I am sustained by the love of God. I am sustained by the love of God. And what? And I deserve to be paid for having fun. 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 What? I deserve to be paid for having fun. What? I deserve to be paid for having fun. What? I deserve to be paid for having fun. Is that right? I deserve to be paid for having fun. I rest in God. I rest in God. I rest in God. I rest in God. I rest in love. I rest in love. I rest in love. I rest in love. I am loving and lovable. I'm 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 loving. Tell somebody you're loving and lovable. I'm loving and lovable. I'm loving and lovable. I'm loving and lovable. I say you're loving and lovable. I'm loving and lovable. I'm loving and lovable. You're loving and lovable. I'm loving and lovable. You're loving and lovable. I'm loving and lovable. You're loving and lovable. We are juicy and sweet. You are juicy and sweet. And powerful and neat.
And powerful and neat.
I am juicy and sweet.
I am juicy and sweet.
And I'm hard to beat.
And I'm hard to reach.
Woo! Give it up! Hey! Oh! So much for the nice, slow beginning.
Love that.
We have to have. You know how it is. We have to scare that part of us away to think we're separate from each other.
That's right.
You know, I get so sick of that part of me. It seems like it just starts over every week. Yeah, every morning. You think you like join with everybody, and then you meet some new people, and then you immediately realize there's a part of you that's still kind of bashful about really expressing yourself, you know? I know. Today in the Course in Miracles, we're going to be covering a part in the teacher's manual that's called "How Should the Teacher of God Spend His Day?" This section it gives very specific instructions about how you should approach every day and how you should learn to hear your own higher self, to get in touch with your greater self. Is that a worthwhile topic?
I'll say that.
Okay, so if you're going to be a teacher of love, if you're going to be a demonstrator of truth, you should know how you should spend your day. Now, the Course in Miracles describes a teacher as a demonstrator.
What page, Earl?
Page 40 in the teacher's manual. So the Course in Miracles describes a teacher as a demonstrator, and God is love. So how should the teacher of God spend his day? It's just another way of saying how should the demonstrator of love spend their day.
Right.
If you're going to demonstrate love, how should you spend your day? If you're going to demonstrate joy, how should you spend your day? Is this a day?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so does it apply to this day?
Yes.
All right. Now, it's it says to the advanced teacher, and I'm going to say love and fear. To the advanced teacher of love, the question is meaningless. So if you are an advanced demonstrator of love, how you should spend your day is a meaningless question. What does that mean? If you are an advanced demonstrator of love, the Course in Miracles says there is no program. Because the lessons are going to change every day. Yet there's one thing that if you are advanced, there's just one thing you are absolutely sure of, which is the lessons that change every day don't change at random. So the lessons that are coming to you every day are not changing by accident. The lessons that you're going to learn today is not coming to you by accident. It's not brought to you by an accident. Okay? It's brought to you by McDonald's. Now, you're supposed to like that was green.
That was.
That was green.
That didn't even deserve.
I know it didn't even deserve a reaction, did it?
No.
Okay.
Well, keep trying.
I'll keep trying.
Keep trying.
All right. That sounds good. So the Course in Miracles says, okay, if you're an advanced demonstrator of love, your lessons are going to change every day. And not only that, you understand this and you see that it's true. So you're going to just rest content because you know everything that you need to know is going to be presented to you today for you to need to know. So everything that you need to learn today is going to be presented to you if you're an advanced demonstrator of truth, if you're an advanced demonstrator of love. Then it goes on to say, the one thing that you know if you are advanced in your spiritual development is that you know you will be told all that your role should be this day and every day.
Yeah.
You also know that those who share that role with you will find you so that you can learn your lessons together. So I say that again. If you are an advanced teacher of love, you know that you're going to be told everything you need to know from within your own inner guidance.
Yeah.
If you're an advanced teacher of love, you also know that everybody that you're going to learn that lesson in love with, they're going to find you today. So you're not hunting for nobody. You're not trying to get nobody. You know, whoever needs to show up, they're going to show up that day. They're going to find you.
Wow.
I think that's a very interesting way to put it. They're going to find you.
Love it.
And not only that, they're going to find you so that you can learn the lesson in love together today. Now, this is a very important statement. No one is absent whom you need.
Oh, good. Okay.
The chat behind me is distracting. Thank you. Well, that was kind of high. Oh. That's better, isn't it?
That's right.
Let me do my Barry White
That's
on.
right.
So the Course says that they're gonna find you and you're gonna learn the lessons for the day together. No one is absent whom you need. No one is sent without a learning goal already set and a goal that can be learned that very day. So that means nobody that you need in your life is absent. And once you wake up and begin to be a more advanced truth student, you know that if there's no one that you need that's not here. So if you're pining away for anybody that's absent, then you're pining away for somebody you don't need. If you needed them, they'd be here. All right, so let those folks go, and you know who I'm talking about. You all know exactly who I'm talking about. They would not be absent if you truly needed them. And actually, it goes on to say that not one is absent whom you need, and no one is sent to you without a learning goal already set. So if it's someone coming to you with a spiritual lesson for you to learn, you can learn it that day.
Right.
Okay? And he says, for the advanced teacher of God, the question is superfluous. It's super with a flu. Superfluous. Thank you.
Superfluous.
Thank you, baby.
Silly for
Thank you. The question has been asked and answered, and then you keep in constant contact with your higher self, which is the answer. You are set. You see the road on which you walk stretched surely and smoothly before you. So that first paragraph describes the characteristics of an advanced teacher of truth.
Okay.
I'll say it again. You wake up in the morning, you know there's no program. You know that your lessons change every day. The next thing you're going to understand is that you're going to be told everything you need to do that day. The next thing you're going to get is that everybody who shares that role with you are going to find you. And then you're going to have an opportunity to learn that lesson together that day. And nobody's absent whom you need this day.
From the back.
Okay, everybody is here that you need. Everybody is here that you need. No one is absent that you need. So in this moment, right here, today, everybody in this moment with you, you absolutely are with the people that you need.
Yeah, I can see that.
You're looking at them. In this
Yeah.
moment, now
Yeah.
5 minutes from now it might be different, but in this moment,
Right.
we are around the people that we need. And we're here to remember the truth together. All right, we're here to give ourselves the support and the witness to who we really are. So, any questions or comments about that first paragraph before I go to the next paragraph?
I'm just really glad you're here. Yeah.
Thank you, I'm glad you're here too. Tell me.
I have
Yes,
so absent meaning like
they're not here.
And you don't need them.
If they're not in this moment,
You don't need them.
then you don't need them in this moment.
so like let go of missing people.
Well, you can miss them, but you don't need them.
Ooh, okay, nice.
It's okay to miss them if you choose to miss them. But what's important is to realize that when you go into the thought system of love, then you're going into a thought system that nothing is missing that you need. There's no such thing as having a need that love won't meet.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as having a need that love won't meet.
Yeah. Good to hear.
Anybody else? Well, that's the whole purpose of the class, is just to remind the truth, not analyze the truth. Say, I need to get up in the morning and realize that everything I need this day is going to show up for me this day. I need to remember that no one's absent who I really need. I need to remember that I'm in constant contact with my guidance all day long. I need to remind myself that I'm on a road that's going to stretch smoothly before me as I walk. Because when I tell myself something different, then I become afraid.
So if I'm alone and I need to be alone and maybe do inner reflection?
Yeah, if it looks like you're alone, which you never are, and it looks like there's not a body around you, then in that particular instant, you don't need anybody's around you. If you want to have peace. I mean, what could be more peaceful than to realize that every moment is complete and whole, that there's nothing missing from it, that there's nothing to seek in this moment. That's where peace is located. All of the conflict is coming from believing that there's something that I want that's not there. So now remember, in the Course in Miracles, we're talking about achieving interpretations of your experience that allows you to have peace of mind. The Course in Miracles is about giving you a new perception of everything so that you can keep your peace of mind. Okay, would you mind closing that door right there? I'm creating every amount of noise possible that I can create in my experience. I'm creating it. Okay. Yes, I'm uncreating it. Okay, so the next thing to keep in mind then is that if we're in the Course in Miracles, we're talking about changing our perception, which means to change our interpretation of what's happening. And when you give yourself a new interpretation that gives you peace, then you can hear your guidance from within. You're always being guided from within, but you can't hear the voice of guidance when you're in conflict. So the first rule of peace is to get out of conflict. Conflict is coming from trying to choose between two different things without making up your mind. So once you make a decision, you're automatically out of conflict. So if I was to make the decision today that there's no one absent whom I need, then I will not be in conflict about anyone that's not there. You see what I'm saying? Because I've accepted that it's true. Now if I want to stay in conflict, then I'll still keep insisting that there's something missing that I need right now. Now, the conflict itself is a punishment on yourself. So the Course in Miracles teaches that if you are determined to punish yourself, you will keep yourself in conflict. And you'll keep yourself in conflict by giving yourself interpretations that cause you fear and upset. But the fear and upset itself is the punishment. So that's why when a person is in conflict, it's very difficult to give them an answer that will satisfy them.
That's for sure.
Because they really don't want the answer. They've already decided on the answer. The answer is, I'll just be in conflict. I'll just feel bad.
Yeah.
I'll just be upset. That's how I'm going to handle this. And everything you're offering may be a way to get out of the conflict. But they are ready for the conflict. They want to be upset. So whenever you see, the Course says, anybody that's in conflict, they're in conflict because they want to be.
Right.
There's not a person that's not in conflict because they want to be. Because there is nothing you're in conflict about that there is not an answer that you could receive that would give you more peace about it if you wanted it. So conflict is purely a personal choice. Okay? First I get out of the conflict, then I can hear what God is saying to me.
Yeah.
First I get out of the conflict, then I can hear what love is trying to guide me to do. And there are no new problems. There's only one problem and one answer. The one problem is a grievance and a sense of separation from Source, and the one answer is a miracle, which is us reconnecting with Source. That's the only problem is I think I'm separate from my Source. I'm not in tune with my Source. That's my financial problem, that's my health problem, that's my relationship problem, that's my job problem, that's my spirit problem. Every problem each and every one of us has, or think we have in this room, is coming from one thing. We think we're separate from God. We think we're separate from our Source. We think we're separate from love. We've forgotten who we really are. We've forgotten that we're infinite beings having a human experience. We've forgotten that we're more powerful than we know. We've forgotten that we create everything that looks like it's happening to us. We've just forgotten. That's the only problem, is you just forgotten. But because you forgot where something is, doesn't mean it doesn't still exist. Just because you've forgotten where you left your keys doesn't mean you no longer have keys in existence. So just because you've forgotten your power, forgotten your strength, forgotten your beauty, forgotten your love, forgotten how wonderful you are, that has nothing to do with the reality of it. You still are powerful, you still are loved, you still are wonderful, you still are not a victim, you still are free. Whoa! And so everybody that's sent to you today, they're actually being sent to you to help you make that recognition again. Because you've forgotten about it. So we either choose relationships with people who help us forget our power, or we choose to have relationships with people who help us remember our power. And that's based on what you want to remember about yourself. Okay, so depending on what you want to remember about you determines your social life. I'm telling you the truth now. The people you hang out with are telling you what you want to hear.
Yep.
They're reflecting back to you what you believe about yourself. So if you hate the people you're around, you hate yourself.
So Earl, so basically then, in a nutshell, conflict is choosing not to decide between two things.
Yeah, conflict is choosing not to make up your mind and make a decision between two things. And the Course even goes a step further and say that if you get in conflict between two different things, it really ultimately doesn't matter because both of them are illusions. You're only trying to choose. The Course says we get up in the morning, we get up in the morning trying to decide the better way to deceive ourselves today.
Best to deceive
Like, what am I going to do today that's going to deceive myself about the truth of who I really am? I think I'll call so-and-so.
Yeah,
or I think I'll go do this over here. The Course also says we have a tendency to get up in the morning with the desire to be right even when we're wrong. That we want to be right more than we want to be happy. So it's how right am I today rather than how happy am I today. So here's the next paragraph. But what about those jokers who haven't reached this certainty?
Yeah.
What about those who haven't reached this kind of certainty that they know everything is perfect the way that it is? Anybody familiar with that kind of mind? Does anybody here have that kind of mind? It does not have absolute certainty about how to spend the day. I do. He says, these are people who are not yet ready for such lack of structuring on their part. In other words, the way that I live my life now is very different from how I lived it when I first got in the Course, when I had so many more agendas and plans. Now I live my life more in reactive mode, where I am responding to what my higher self is presenting me to deal with today, because I believe in my higher self enough to trust it to give me what I need today and the people I need today to deal with. And then the next thing I do is recognize that anything that comes up for me today is just an opportunity for forgiveness and a correct perception and changing my mind. So everything that shows up is either giving me an opportunity to reclaim the power of love and truth within myself, or it's giving me a chance to forget that. So the once you are acting under guidance, you're not planning, you're carrying out a plan. The once you are acting under guidance, you also know that your plan isn't good enough for you, so you stop trying to use those. You realize that you don't think highly enough of yourself to make a plan for you. So you want to make sure that you're letting the part of you that loves you guide you, direct you, show you what to do. And you can tell when it's the part of you that loves you because it's never asking sacrifice of you. And it's also only asking you to do things that you are adequate to do in this moment and can be done in this moment. So anything you're telling yourself that you have to do that can't be done now is your plan and not God's. According to the Course, that you don't have to believe. I
Yeah,
said that
say that
again.
again.
If your plan is coming to you from your higher self is smart enough to know that it would make a lot more sense to ask you to do something you want to do and can do.
Right.
That would increase the possibilities that something would get done if you asked the
Yes.
person that wanted to do it and could.
Yes.
Only an insane mind is constantly presenting itself with things that it can't do and then attributing that to God as if God is so insane as to want you to do something that can't be accomplished. So rule number one, if it's coming from your divine self, you can do it, it's available, and you can do it now. If it's coming from your ego, it's always something of the past or the future that you can't do now, that you're not adequate to do now, and you got to make yourself adequate to do.
All right.
Well, what about growth? I don't know about you, but I'd have to set it in the affirmations to go into puberty. Whatever's natural part of your evolution and your development is going to happen whether or not you study for it.
Yes.
The studying is only there in order for you to learn how to look at your growth in such a way that you will have peace about it. The learning part is just about our perceptions of things. What's really real has nothing to do with your decision as to whether or not you think it's going to happen. That's what makes it real. You can't decide, I'm not going to start my menstrual cycle. Because that time in your biological development is going to happen. Now, how you see it is up to you. You understand what I'm saying? When a 13-year-old boy becomes all hormones, he just can't help it. You know, that's just the way it is. Now, he can either see it as if he's shamed and guilt-tripped through his parents, or they can explain to him that that's a natural thing to experience, and he can feel innocent about it. But it's going to happen. So the Course in Miracles takes it a step further. It teaches that you're going to be happy. You're going to experience total fulfillment. You will not be suffering forever. You will have joy. You don't have any choice about it. You're going to be loved, damn it. You're going to have some joy. No, I'm not. That's the only thing you can do as a rebellious child, is to have an unhappy life, because your Creator has decided that its will is that you have a happy life. So if you're going to rebel, it just means you're going to come up with as much crap as you can to disobey. So how many of you are successful, rebellious children who are miserable in some area of your life because you're refusing to listen to the truth in that area? And that doesn't mean, and if you're willing to say that, then you're also at the point that you can have a different perception of it and you can allow it to change. So don't be ashamed if you're willing to say, hey, you know what, I'm making those errors of perception and I wish I had another way to look at it. That's good, that's sane. But the miserable person who thinks they're miserable but they're doing everything right, the person who thinks they're the nicest person in the world, but everybody's always slamming them and treating them wrong, that's the person that's stuck. The person that's not stuck is the person that sees some connection between themselves and what they're creating and experiencing. That's the powerful being, not the one that's always saying, I'm the nicest person in the world and people just always doing me in. The truth is, you're doing yourself in. And you're using them to do it. It's like me wanting to kill myself, and I hand the knife to you and say, would you stab me, because it seems crazy for me to stab myself. So, but if you stab me, then it makes a lot more sense. So I'm going to kill myself through you. Same thing in relationships. I don't believe I deserve to be happy, so I'm going to form a relationship with you, and I want you to make me as miserable as possible, because that's what I really believe that I deserve. And I also get the extra added benefit of being able to project on you that the reason it's happening is you. Which keeps me totally stuck, because now I don't see the connection between me and what I'm going through right now. So one of the hardest parts of spiritual development, when you first make that decision that you're going to love yourself, is you become totally aware of how much you don't. And you become aware of what you're doing that's keeping you from having the love. Many truth students want to jump over that stage. They don't want to look at the shadow. They don't want to look at what's under the rug that's making the lump that they're complaining about, that they want to get rid of. They think stumping the lump gonna do it. No, you can't stump the lump. Besides, that's kind of painful when you think about it.
Or stuff the lump, or
Stuff the lump, or stop. Yes, the Course says you got to look at your fear. You got to look at your conflict and not try to pretend it's not there and not try to hide it. Don't let the desire to be positive keep you suffering. Positive is a beautiful thing, but in the long run, it can be used against you if you use it as an excuse not to be authentic about what you really feel and what's going on. It's more important to be authentic than it is to be positive. Okay? So then the Course in Miracles says, what about those folks that's not ready for such lack of structuring, Raj, on their part? What must we do to learn to give the day to love? What must I do to learn to give the day to love? Well, there are some general rules which do apply, although each one must use these rules as they can in their own way. So I'm going to give you some rules, and then you use it the best you can in your own way.
Okay,
The truth
love it.
doesn't become real to you until you make it yours.
Right.
So you take a truth and then you use it in your own way, and it becomes a part of you. You make it personal. So the Course says this is what you do. Understand that routines as such are dangerous. Routines are dangerous. Routines are dangerous. Routines are dangerous. Whew, breathe. Remember what I said about resistance? Routines are dangerous. Now, why are routines dangerous? Because routines easily become gods in their own right. People can be more addicted to the routine than why they set the routine up.
Indeed.
You know, people go to classes every week that they no longer are inspired by just because they're in the habit of going to that class. There are people who went to church this morning, to churches that they're no longer inspired in, but because there's just a routine for them to go. There are people in a relationship routine, there are people in financial routines, there are people in health routines. They're just doing it because they always have done it that way, even though now they don't even know why they're doing it. So routines can be dangerous if you forget the purpose of the routine. So ask yourself every day, do I feel inspired by what I'm doing, or is it just a routine? You'll know the answer. And if you're not inspired by it, stop it.
Right.
Cease doing what doesn't inspire you. Cease being around people who don't inspire you. Cease being at a job that doesn't inspire you. What doesn't inspire you is not of your spirit, because anything that comes from your spirit inspires you. If it's coming from your mind, if it's coming from your security center, if it's coming from your desire to take care of yourself on your own, then you're going to be doing it with no juice. You're not excited about it. You're not enthusiastic about it. Like, I'm no longer doing my Thursday class in July because I want to take some time to receive even more inspiration about what it is I want to do next. Because I know I teach best what I need to learn. So I want to get clear about where and how I want to evolve right now, because that's what I want to teach, and that's what I'll have the most enthusiasm about, and I'll be an excited teacher just like the one you're seeing right now. So if it doesn't inspire me, I got to get rid of it. If it doesn't inspire me, I have to stop, because it's going to enslave my spirit. Most people are operating from the security center. They're not operating from a center of faith in connection with Source. They're just doing what it takes to make it. And then they're wondering why they're so unhappy, because they're not paying attention to the guidance they're receiving every moment that's telling them exactly what they could be doing to have that fulfillment that they want. But they're too busy listening to their own plans they're making up.
Right.
How do you know if it's your plan or God's plan? The way you know the difference is your plan doesn't satisfy you when you achieve it. It's almost if it's your plan, as the Course says, it's almost as soon as you accomplish it, you're already dissatisfied, you're ready for something different. That's your plan. A plan that's coming to you from your real self is so totally satisfying that all you want to do is be present in it, experience it, and allow it to expand and increase.
Say that again?
A plan that's coming from spirit is a plan that's whole and complete. That all you want to do is receive it. It's bringing you tranquility. All you want to do is expand it and extend it. You're not dissatisfied with it. So it's not saying you won't continue to grow and continue to want to experience new things, but it will be an expansion of your desire to be complete and whole. It won't be coming from, and I'm bored with that 2 seconds after I get it. And then our thought system in the world teaches us that unless you're constantly seeking after what you don't have, then there's something wrong with you. And that's a trick. Don't fall for it. That's a trick. The people who are increasingly allowing themselves to have more and more are those who are grateful and satisfied with what they have. It's not the ones who are never satisfied with what they have and they're always looking for something else. Those are not the ones who experience true abundance. It's the one that goes, I am really happy to be here in this church with this group of brothers and sisters that's here with me right now. I feel blessed in this moment, and I just want to let more of my love extend even more out into my experience, but not from a sense of I'm dissatisfied with you all suck. So I need to get a whole new group of people to teach. Yes. See, that's not coming from appreciation. That's not coming from what creates more. So stop criticizing everybody around you and stop expecting everybody to change in order for you to be happy. Your best friends are the ones who won't allow themselves to be controlled by you, because you need to understand that you don't have that power over anybody else, and anybody who makes you think so is not your friend. Because you'll get lost in the illusion that you really have some power over them and lose awareness of the fact that it's just a gift that they're giving you temporarily because there's something about you they want too. there's some agenda that they also feel that you might be able to take care of for them also. And if they really get clear that you're never going to get that agenda, they're not going to get that agenda through you, they're going to snatch that power back so fast, it's going to blow your mind. And you're going to be freaking out because you really thought you had power over them. And all of a sudden you get angry and get ready to put your guilt trip on them to make them do what you want them to do. And they look at you like you out of your mind. Oh, really?
Really?
And since they no longer feel like they have to have you in order to be happy, they're also not going to, they're not only going to say, oh, really? They're going to give you a barrage of things that they really feel about you that they never would tell you as long as they were afraid to lose you. And by the way, let me tell you, I never did like this, and I didn't want to go to your mama's house every Sunday, and I didn't really like your clothes either. Y'all, everybody know what I'm saying is the truth.
We do.
We've all experienced it and we've all done it. So do not fool yourself into thinking you have power over anybody.
Right.
They're giving it to you as a gift, the appearance of it. All right? And there's another universal law. What you don't appreciate will be removed from your experience because you're not appreciating it is you saying you don't want it in your experience. So if you keep on not appreciating someone and something, you don't have to wear it. It will be removed.
Yes.
And then you'll freak out.
Cry.
Because you thought constantly criticizing and judging was going to change their mind so that they would act better. But the truth is, it's a form of lack of appreciation. So you really were asking for that person or situation to be removed. And then you freak out when they leave and move toward where they will be appreciated. Watch it. If all you do is criticize and judge, you need to cool it. Unless it's really something you don't want in your life.
Right.
So Earl, what if it's the flip side that pops up and you know better, but sometimes, like I've allowed to go against my gut and say, okay, well maybe one more chance.
Well, that's your call for love. And one of the things the Course in Miracles says is, give up what you don't want, keep what you do. So if you still want it right now, just take responsibility for choosing to give it one more go. That's all you do. Just go, oh, you know what? I feel like this is against my being. I feel like this is against my better judgment, but I really want to do it. And I'm going to take total responsibility for what I experienced as a result of going ahead and doing this, even though it seems like it's against my better judgment. Because even if you do that, you're empowering yourself. Because you're still not seeing yourself as a victim, even if it turns out horribly.
Well, it's the same, yeah.
You see what I mean?
Same result, dry well.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. So what you should say to yourself is, I have a goal of having a dry well right now. A dry well is not an accident. I want a dry well. I'm trying to convince myself I can't have what I want as part of my core belief about myself that I'm guilty, not enough, and separate from God. So if I'm separate from love, I've got to have something to prove I'm separate from love.
Right.
What could better prove to me that I'm separate from love than to have relationships that cause me fear and conflict? So it's really coming from my core belief that I'm not worthy and everybody else is loving me so much they're witnessing it back to me so that I can believe the lie that I'm telling myself. So they're not the liars, you're the liar. You're the one that's deceiving yourself about what you deserve and who you are. They're just witnessing it back to you at your request. Because we want to be right. So if I think I'm not enough, I need to have proof. Oh, my mama. Okay, now. Or if I really am aware that I am valuable and I believe I am valuable, then it's my mama. You see, it might be my mama telling me how wonderful and beautiful. My mama was like, my mama was tight.
Yeah.
My mother was like my best friend and happened to be my mama.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So my mother reflected back to me and my sisters reflected back to me such an incredible level of love from females that's never been an issue in my life.
No.
Really, I'm just being sincere. Because I grew up with a healthy respect for what that energy was about and what it could do. It was the men that was more of the lesson for me. And I am one. So therefore, it was an even bigger lesson for me because my own physical image represented something that looked like it wasn't there.
Right.
So I had to really correct my perception of my own masculine self, which is what the truth helped me do by teaching me that I'm more than that. That I'm a being having an experience through a male body. That I'm more than that. Wow. That becomes more and more inspirational to me as I get older. The fact that I'm more than a body. When you're real young, don't really matter. But you start hitting a few years, you'll be like, I want eternal life to be real. It'd be nice if it was eternal. People who don't want eternal life are those who are miserable. A happy person wants their life to go on. A miserable person is looking forward to death. because they think it's going to be some release into some greater state. They don't realize they take their consciousness with them everywhere they go. So your consciousness will recreate your reality wherever you go. So it's not until you change your mind that you're going to change anything. You can't take anything with you from here but your consciousness. That which you have by right of consciousnly. You don't take your house, you got to take your mind. And then your mind is going to turn around and produce the reality for you just like it did this time. How you was born was based on your mind.
Yes. That's right.
And it was set up for you to win. It wasn't set up for you to lose.
Yes.
No matter what it looks like, it's rigged in your favor. You were the one that picked out the lessons you wanted to learn with your higher self. It's all a collaborative venture. And then you have certain relationships held out to you to help you bring about that purpose. What relationships are those? The ones you have. Now, not the past ones, not the future ones. All the happiness you could possibly experience, you could experience it through the relationships you have now, with the people you have now, if you choose. So the Course in Miracles goes on to say that routines as such become gods in their own right. So what is a routine that's become a god? It's a routine that's threatening the very goals that you set the routine up for. In other words, broadly speaking, then, it can be said that it's well to start the day right. How should I start my day? Right. It's always possible to begin again, should the day begin with error. There are obvious advantages in terms of saving time. It saves time if you start the day right, and even if you make a mistake, you can still begin again, but you'll save more time if you start it right. Now, what does it mean to start the day right? It means to start the day using the truth that you say you believe as the way you live that day. Starting the day right, if you claiming you're the spiritual giant who creates through your consciousness, and you are love, and you are spirit, and you are infinite being, and you're compassionate, and you're real, then starting the day right means starting the day from that perspective that I am spirit, that I am responsible, that I'm not a victim, that I'm not alone, that I am innocent, that I do have help. That's starting the day right. It's living the day according to what you say you believe. Starting the day right isn't reading the book and then starting your day the way the world taught you to start the day. Which is trying to come up with who's going to save me today.
Right.
Who can I change to make me happy today? What situation do I need to alter in order for me to feel good today? That's starting the day in error. Starting the day in error is always you telling yourself, if this were different, I'd be happy. That's starting the day with error. If I was in another city, I'd be happy. If I was waking up in another bed, well, that's true. There are some exceptions to the truth. No, there are no
We knew
exceptions.
it.
None whatsoever. That's just where I still want to be stuck.
Yeah.
That's where you
That's
want.
pretty cool.
That's where I want to be.
Stick it.
Yeah, that's right. Stick it. So it's obvious to your advantage if you were to recognize that you don't want your routines to be more important than the inspiration that you get from them, that there are some general rules that apply to having a happy day, but you're supposed to use it in your own way, that you can always start the day correctly. And if you started incorrectly, you can always begin again, but if you would go ahead and use your truth immediately, it would save you a whole lot of time. Now, what is it that makes it difficult for people to discipline themselves enough to do their spiritual path? It's not their spiritual path. I say it again. What is it that makes it very difficult for a person to do their spiritual path? It's not their spiritual path. The thing that they're studying is not true to their path. No one has to force you to work your path. They almost have to force you to stop working your path, because you'll find yourself wanting to focus your energy into whatever that is all the time. If you like get up in the morning and go, oh, the Course in Miracles, oh God, I gotta read my workbook, listen, oh Jesus Christ, it's the crazy stuff. It's not your path. It's not your path. You come into my class and it's torture. It's not your path. Hearing me say this and this, that's not the same as having resistance that comes from being introduced to new ideas that you know you need to go toward, even though you know you have old beliefs. So you're overcoming the resistance because of something new. It's that element, no interest, no study, no focus, no energy being given to it. that's not your path. Your path inspires you. I'm gonna keep using that word because that's the one I need to hear, because all of my guidance is saying follow the energy, follow your inspiration, and stop being so afraid. Because if you feel afraid, it just means you're trusting in your own strength separate from me. That's what my higher self said. You can always tell when you're trusting in your wits and your intelligence because you feel afraid right now. That's how you know you're trying to do it by yourself. You feel afraid right now. So if you're feeling afraid right now, you're trying to do it without your greater self. You're trying to do it without your inner, greater, higher self. That's why you're afraid. If you were not afraid, it would mean you would be trusting in something greater than your own ego. So what would be the first thing I should do then? I should learn how to let my ego go, that old programming go that's blocking me from being able to hear the guidance that will make my life an inspirational joy. Mm-hmm. How do I do that? It's called study and meditation and applying ideas that you didn't think of. Right. It's almost hilarious to me when I hear people say they're going to transform themselves through figuring it out on their own, through their own trial and error. It's so slow. Yes. You know, you're not going to come up with any thought that someone hasn't thought of before you. You're not going to come up with anything that's bothering you that these books that you study are not already showing you. It's just a matter of you finding the path that moves you. And it may not be the Course in Miracles. Thank God it was the Course in Miracles for me, because I finally stopped reading books and putting them on the bookshelf and getting another one to sitting down going, oh, it's telling me that right now what I need to do is accept that there's nobody absent. I'm feeling lonely today. Oh, that's right. I need to remember there's no one absent whom I need. Oh, I wonder if I need anybody else in my life right now. No, there's no one absent who you need. See, I need to remember my past, because that immediately made me feel more peace. You may have felt peace just hearing that. So then that moment of peace may be enough for me to hear my guidance that says, hey, I want you to get a ticket and go to the West Coast this weekend and hang out with your friends. And how do I know it's coming from God? It was, first of all, it'd be adequate for me to do it. It won't be, how am I going to pay for the ticket to the West Coast? If it's in divine order, I won't be worried about how I'm going to pay for the ticket to the West Coast. If it's in divine order, it will be given. The way will be given. I will be adequate. The situation will be adequate. That's so different from how we've been programmed. So I'm gonna go through this entire section over the next few weeks. It's a very powerful, very important. It's got some fun stuff in it, because I want you to have I'm gonna say a very bad word. It's a four-letter word. Easy. You should have an easy life. I'll say it again. An easy life. So would you say easy? Easy. Keep saying easy while I'm getting my donation. I want to thank you for sharing financial expressions of appreciation. I really appreciate that. Would you acknowledge yourself for hearing this much? And I got one more little thing I'm going to cover. If you give it up to you, give that energy up to you. Are you cool? I want to thank you for your demonstrations of financial appreciation. I'm a full-time teacher of this course, and so I thank you for being used by Spirit to channel what I need to keep doing what I'm doing. Those of you in internet land, I'm available for clarity sessions. Clarity sessions is merely me taking everything I've learned about the course in the last 30 years, plus my knowledge of astrology and numerology, and applying it to your personal situation or circumstance that you want another way to look at, or you want some answers about. So it's called a clarity session. Go to my website, Earl Purdy, earlpurdy.com, and it explains the clarity session. And I also have a few sheets up here, these orange sheets. Also, it's going to be very important, if you want to know what's going on, to put your name and email on this list up here. So I'm traveling more sometimes, and it would be easier for you to find out. But I'll be here at least until August the 9th. So I'll be here every Sunday for sure. Then I'm going to do a workshop weekend, then I'll be back again. All right. So you all really feel good today. I'm so glad that you're here. Did any of that make sense, brothers and sisters? Did any of that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, who can shout out one thing that made sense to them that they want to remember? Easy. What else? Anybody?
Routines.
What about the routines?
That they, yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. They're
What
dangerous.
about
They're dangerous. If they threaten the goal that you have set, because now the routine is more important than the reason you set the routine.
Correct.
Anybody else here in the
Sweet
thought?
and juicy.
You sweet and juicy.
Everybody's here that I need. You're on the right path.
Everybody's here what you need. What was yours?
If it inspires you, you're on your right path.
If it inspires you, remember, as you wake up to your spiritual power, you act from inspiration and not from plans.
Yes. Miracles came.
If you're acting from what inspires you, what moves you, and you're also paying a lot of attention to what's showing up. Because when you wake up and you really make that connection with your Holy Spirit or your higher self, it pops what you need into your experience so that you can reclaim the power of your joy. And it's nothing that's like a sacrifice. It's not going to be something you hate to do. It's going to be something you experience complete happiness, because the Course in Miracles teaches your happiness and your function are one. That your happiness and your function are the same thing. So when you're fulfilling your function, you feel joyful, you feel happy. So when people come to a class like this, they can get depressed. And sometimes they get depressed because they realize how out of alignment they are to their own joy. And that's okay. I hope you feel that kind of discomfort. I hope you feel the kind of discomfort that would make you question what you're doing with your life right now and be willing to ask. So I want you to have it easy. I'm willing for you to have it easy. So I'm going to just take a moment to hit a few of the main points before we go out into the lab. That's what we hit, okay? So take a breath.
No one is absent who I need. No one is absent who I need. Let's go. No one is absent who I need. 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 Routines are dangerous sometimes. Routines are dangerous sometimes. Routines are dangerous sometimes. Routines are dangerous sometimes. I give everything I see all the meaning that it has for me. I give everything I see all the meaning that it has for me. I give everything I see, take a breath, all the meaning that it has for me. I give everything I see, all the meaning that it has for me. Take a breath. Conflict comes from not making a decision. You're gonna be told all you need to know.
Oh, yes.
And you're gonna draw the people into your life that have come to share their lesson of love with you. I'm ready for my lesson in love right now. I'm ready for my lesson in love right now. I'm ready for my lesson in love right now. I'm ready for my lesson in love right now. I'm ready for my lesson in love right now. I'm ready for my lesson in love right now. I'm ready for my lesson in love right now. I'm ready for my lesson in love right now. I'm ready for my lesson in love right now. I'm ready for my lesson in joy right now. I'm ready for my lesson in joy right now. I'm ready for my lesson in joy right now. I'm ready for my lesson in joy right now. I'm ready for my lesson in joy right now. I'm ready for my lesson in joy right now. I'm ready for my lesson in wealth right now. I'm ready for my lesson in wealth right now. I'm ready for my lesson in wealth right now. I'm ready for my lesson in wealth right now. I want my wealth right now.
I want my wealth right now.
I want my wealth right now.
I want my wealth right now.
I want my wealth
my peace right now. Give it up, mighty companion. Help me, God. Help me. May, hugs are available, by the way.
Yes.
I love a good old hug. Hugs are available, and what? May the course be with you. I'll see y'all next time, Holy Spirit. Thanks for coming. Woo! Give it up to you. Come, let's give it up to us. We deserve it. We cool. We're going to give out sales what we want to receive. All right, have a great day. Remember, nobody's absent today that you need.
Nobody.
I help people give their homes love. If you would like some help with that, please come see me.
If you want to give your home some love, see her.